Okay, so we're talking about a topic that's very, very common in life, obstacles, and how to deal with them. Paramahansa Yogananda had a saying that's quite conducive to this topic. He said, there are no such things as obstacles. There are only opportunities. And that's the voice of an avatar, of course, looking at life. And it's something we all can aspire to. But sometimes when those obstacles kind of loom up in front of us, it can be a little bit, what's the word, paralyzing perhaps. That if we can think of that and remember that there's always an option, there's always a way if we just put out energy, if we start moving forward. I think sometimes, I like to think in metaphors. And sometimes when you're out hiking in the forest, and you come up and you look ahead and you can look at it, it doesn't seem like there's any trail, there's no way to get through. It just seems like it's solid brush and trees. But if you just start walking, at least my experience so far is there's always a way. There's always some way that you might not see it till you get up close. So you have to put out that effort to get up close before you can find the avenue. My teacher, Swami Kriyananda, had a very interesting experience with obstacles. He was born with a very unusual astrological sign. It was all of his major planets are in the form of a cross. And I don't know astrology that well, but I think it's called the Iron Cross, and it's a very, very powerful set of obstacles to overcome because everything is the wrong angles with each other. But he said you could look at it that way. You could look at it as an obstacle, but he looked at it as an opportunity because it was going to require him to put out enormous energy in order to work through these things, and he did. He was able to make his life, as most of you know, he wrote 140 books and a couple of hundred pieces of music, and just was able to put out the energy he needed to overcome that whole situation. So to build toward those levels of these great souls is something that we can all work on. My work, most of my life has been working with young people, with children in schools. We call them the Living Wisdom Schools in America, and then there's a couple in Europe. And I'm here for a couple of weeks here in India just to kind of talk to people about the possibility of having that kind of approach. But what we do in those schools is we say, well, what's really important in life? Well, yes, it's important to learn to read and write and do mathematics and things like that. But life is so much more than those things. And there are these other parts of life that need to be addressed also in order to really prepare students for what they're going to face. If they just know how to do algebra and how to proofread a paper, that might succeed in a couple of places in life, but there's going to be lots of places where those skills don't help. And so we look at life in a bigger way in education for life, and we say, well, let's take something like obstacles. Everyone is going to face obstacles, not just once or twice, but continually through their life. So what happens if we could prepare students to be ready for those when they come, to almost expect them and to have their tools all ready to go to deal with those challenges? So we're going to look at a couple of what we call life skill charts. They come in a packet like this, and there's 15 skills in the packet. They range from everything from practicing peace to getting along with others, things of that sort. But since tonight's topic is about obstacles, I picked out two that I thought would be most germane to this conversation. The first one is called Choosing Happiness. And it's got a picture of a bluebird on the front, which symbolizes the happiness. And it's got a yoga posture that goes with it that can be practiced in a saying. The saying on this card is from Abraham Lincoln. A person will be just about as happy as they make up their mind to be. And the second card we're going to talk about is building willpower. Now the animal in this card is not familiar to people in India because it's a North American animal called a beaver. We're going to have a little contest actually to find out what's the animal in India that would symbolize willpower best. In America, beavers they're a very industrious little animal. They chop down trees with their teeth and they make dams and they build big ponds. They're very industrious. So they show this willpower quality, but I'm sure there's an animal that we'll find that does that in India as well. Also has the yoga posture, and then the saying, this is the saying from J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. It says, "We do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the magic we need inside ourselves." So this whole idea that you can develop these qualities, you can develop willpower, you can develop the ability to choose happiness, both of which are central to being able to deal with obstacles. So I'll take you through the action part of the cards. They both have this other side to them. And I think they could come up on the computer, I'm hoping. Is that good? So you can see them up close. So let's go through the choosing happiness one first. This was a card about working with attitude and how that we do have the option of how we want to respond to life. When something difficult comes, we can choose to give up, or we can choose to look at it as a way to a challenge to grow, a challenge to become something more than we have been already. So when we're working with children with these cards, we go through a series of activities that they can do to build this quality of choosing happiness. So I'll take you through a couple of them. We can read them. It says, first one's called choosing. It says, sit quietly and think of a time you felt happy. Recall what you were doing. Let the feelings flow back into your heart and mind and whisper to yourself, right now, I choose to be happy. So this is an activity you could practice if you're 7 or 8 years old or 10 years old or 54 years old or whatever. And it's a way that you can prove to yourself that in any situation, if you just stop and you open up some of these memory banks inside of you, put yourself in that state, you can recall that feeling of happiness, and that will help you to have the courage to face current situations that might at the beginning look unhappy. Another one is affirming. We all work with affirmations, just having thoughts that go deep into our mind. The affirmation for this one is, I am happy inside myself. Nothing outside can make me happy or sad. So you might choose to repeat that several times a day to build up that vitality around that particular thought. Another way to work with happiness is through helping. It says, find a way to help someone else be happy. This is good in two ways. First, you're working on happiness, and the other is you're getting outside of yourself. You're not worried about your own problems so much. You're starting to think of other people's realities. And this is a fun one. This was one that Yogananda suggested that we copied straight off the teachings. It has to do with smiling. So you feel a little grumpy because life's not going the way you want it to do. And he says, if you're stuck feeling sad, look into a mirror and use your fingers to push the edges of your mouth up into a smile. Notice if your feelings change, and each day. So this would be the kind of thing where you would just force yourself to put in a smile. Now, if you want to try this, if you're looking into a mirror and you do this, it's very hard to stay grumpy because you look so silly, and you start to find yourself just smiling automatically, and then you can take that smile and build on it. Finally, noticing. It says, make a list mentally or in writing of at least 5 parts of your life that are going well. Usually when we have a challenge, it starts to affect us. We start to think our whole life is a big challenge. Nothing's going well, and we start to generalize. And it's not true. There's this one problem. But if we look more deeply, we can find many other situations that are actually going pretty well. And so we can focus on that and help, again, lift our energy so that we can deal with whatever the issue is confronting us. So when I go over this with the students, I ask them, first of all, we've chosen this together. We've decided to work on this card as a group. We've probably talked about the different options, and might have chosen this one. But then I'll say, okay, now we'll go through these, and now I'd like you to pick out the ones you think you actually can work on a daily basis for the next week. So they'll decide that maybe they like number 3 or number 5, or maybe somebody's really motivated and they want to do more than one. I try not to let them try all of them at the beginning, because usually if they can't keep up with the work, we'll try to adjust the level of challenge to the particular child. They pick it, they make a little check mark down here on the card, and then we'll find a time each day to stop and check and see, did we do that? Did we do that particular activity? If I'm working with young children, I might say, stop, right? Now is our time. We're going to all do what we chose that we would do. And so everybody will say, okay, what did I do? They probably forgot. they'll read the one and they'll say, okay, I was going to affirm. Okay, so and then you do the affirmations right there. And then we would check off that we actually did it on Monday. And the same thing comes up on Tuesday, we go through the same thing. And we go through the whole week. At the end of the week, if they've done it every day, they probably have seen some progress. They've probably seen some more ability to do the theme that we've got, choosing happiness. So that would be the first part of working with obstacles, to first put yourself in an optimistic frame of mind. There can be an answer to this challenge, and I can find it if I put out the energy. Second part of it has to do with the energy level itself. You could have a good attitude and only put out a little bit of energy, and you might not make much progress. But if you learn how to build your level of energy, then you would be able to actually work through this obstacle. So with building willpower, we've got, again, in the back, we have a choice of activities. There's another affirmation. This one's different than the happiness one. This one says, I face my challenges with courage and enthusiasm. So you would say that to yourself. I face my challenges with courage and enthusiasm. And you might do it several times. Yogananda actually suggested when you do these affirmations, you start out with a strong voice. I face my challenges with courage and enthusiasm. And then you repeat it again. That's basically to wake up your mind and get you focused. And then you might repeat it a few more times and get softer each time, but without letting the energy drop. So you might say it, I face my challenges with courage and enthusiasm. I face my challenges with courage and enthusiasm. You get softer, and you're actually like planting it in your subconscious mind, and then finally in the superconscious to make it a reality. It's not just an affirmation anymore, it's something that you live. So this is other ways of developing willpower. Exploring. Each day, try something you've never done before. Start with something small, like eating a new food. People get caught in habit patterns, and it doesn't take much willpower to do things the same way every day. It's like you go to the same store to shop, you go to the same barber shop, you go to the same movie theater, and you just all of a sudden you become like a little robot, and your willpower level actually starts to get very weak. Willpower is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. So this is a way to challenge yourself to get out of those habit routines and look for something new that you've never done before. You might start to think, well, how am I going to find new things? But I guarantee, if you just start looking, they're there. We just don't notice them. We train ourselves not to look at them because we don't, I'm not that kind of person. Last week, someone got sick at the place I live, and they were supposed to cook the meal. And I don't cook. And so I didn't even think about it. This is an opportunity to do something new. And I started to walk away, and I thought, wait a minute. I could bake a potato, or I could do something. I could make spaghetti. So I turned around and I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was the first time I'd ever cooked for 20 people in my life. But so those new things are there. And then if you train yourself to start to look for them, you actually, every day, you will build the willpower more and more. Another way to develop willpower is completing. This is a skill that, unless you work on it, you probably don't do so well. You might be the kind of person that starts a lot of projects, and they're all half finished, and you find yourself being kind of overcome by all the stress of having to juggle all these unfinished projects. So here it says, completing. Take one small project to completion. Gradually take on larger projects and add the goal of finishing things on time. It's something you can train yourself to do. I remember I had a boy come in, he was just coming into 7th grade, he felt 7th standard here. And he was kind of, he was still kind of a little boy. He just kind of played, and there were assignments, and sometimes they got finished, and sometimes they didn't, and stuff. But then one day I watched him, and he came in, and his assignment was done. It was on time, and he just handed it to me, and he walked in the room, and I said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, I just decided I was going to start doing things with a lot of energy and will, and get them done." And he just made that little change, and then he turned from being a little kind of careless young man with not a whole lot of willpower to being somebody who had a lot of willpower. When he got to college, he became I didn't even know this was possible, he was a double summa cum laude graduate from his college. Summa cum laude just means with highest honors. And he did it in 2 different departments when he graduated, because he just took that, and it was just a simple turn. I watched him change his mind overnight, and poof, there he went. Then this one has to do with your environment, noticing. It says, watch how your surroundings affect you. Write down one thing that uplifts your energy and another thing that decreases it. Choose to be around those things that help you lift your energy. So it's not just your own effort that increases your willpower, it's the people and environment around you. If you're in a very dirty room and it's kind of smelly and you'll find your energy is going to drop. Your energy is going to contract a little bit because of the effective environment on yourself. But if you choose a room that has energy, that has bright colors, that's clean, you'll find your own energy just comes back that much stronger. So you're making it easier on yourself by looking at your surroundings. This is also true of people. You find if you're around certain people and you find your energy gets stronger. And if you're around other people, it kind of drops and stuff. I had the great blessing to be around Swami Kriyananda for about 40 years. I never met anyone who had as much energy and willpower as he had. And I would find that just by being around him, I found my own energy just picking up. Because it's just, when you're around somebody like that, you start to think, well, anything's possible, of course. Let's just go out and try it. So choose your friends for that. You can choose your friends for that reason. Choose your places you stay and do work. If you're studying, like this is, all students are going to be studying at some point. But they can work on finding a nice place to study. So when it's a place they enjoy being, and so they'll go there and they'll think, oh, okay, this is a nice place. You can use your imagination. You can do it with colors, with flowers. You might put your favorite food there, or whatever it is that uplifts your energy. But just to make it that your study place is a place of energy, not a place that makes you want to get out of there first as fast as possible. So let's see, one other one in here. Reflecting. It says, before you act, this is in terms of building willpower, ask yourself, why are you acting? Are you just going along with other people's ideas, or are you thinking for yourself? If you can't find a good reason, stop and do something else. This just has to do with exercising your willpower in healthy directions, because you could waste willpower in doing something that's really not that helpful and would harm other people. So you take some of these things, and again, the same thing would happen. You would go down, you would check off the one you're going to work on, or two that you're going to work on this week, and then you find a way to check yourself each day, make sure you're doing it. And this is the way that you would build the willpower, and you would find yourself able to do more and more things in life, and you wouldn't be afraid of life anymore. You would just say, okay, I'm a Yogananda, we call it a spiritual warrior, and I'm ready for whatever life brings me. So these two qualities, choosing happiness and building willpower, would be something that you could tangibly work on in terms of overcoming obstacles. If you look at the people around you in life, you'll see that there are a couple of major divisions. You see some people fall into the habit of complaining. And they're complaining about life. They're complaining about their schoolwork, they're complaining about the government, they're complaining about the weather, they're complaining about, complaining is a very lively quality. And if you're not careful, it can just take over, and you can find yourself getting stuck. And you look at other people, and they never complain. No matter what happens, they just never complain. They fall, and they break their arm, and they just get up, and they do whatever you need to do to get it fixed, and they go on with life. But they don't waste time, on the complaining part of it. Those are the people that turn their life into real successes, and they're able to accomplish things. It's such an important part of life, because the obstacles are going to be there. We don't have any control over that. You don't know when they're going to come. I walked out the front door here of the center the other day, and I almost got run over by a motorbike. It just flashed around the corner at a really high speed. I had no control over that. We could have collided. We didn't, but it was just very possible it would happen. And you never know when stuff's going to happen. But if you prepare yourself to work with this quality, you stop worrying, because you could say, you build yourself to the point where you say, whatever happens, I'm going to be able to deal with it. I'm going to be able to work with it. I'll find it, as you get to the point of Yogananda, I'll find all it was an opportunity for growth that came to me, and I welcome those opportunities. So I'm very happy to have this chance. Okay, I don't know on this webinar if there were people that wrote in questions or things. If this would be a chance. Well, maybe people who are sitting here. There's somebody in the room that has a question. We have a live audience here.
How to get the shirts?
Oh, how to get it? Oh, yes, if you like. if you like the idea of working on yourself in these ways, like I said, there's 15 cards like this, you can come into the Ananda Center here in Pune and ask people how to get the chart. They either have it in the boutique or they'll refer you to the two people who are working with Education for Life here, Gayatri and Prisha. So they would have those for you. And you could even, if you get excited, you want to find that animal that shows willpower in India, you can tell us, and maybe we'll use your idea then for the new card. What do you think? What animal shows willpower in India? What do you think would be a good quality?
Willpower. Horse.
A horse?
Yeah. Horse.
Horses have willpower. Yeah. We already have the horse for courage on another card, which is related to willpower.
It never sits down. It's
Yeah.
always standing.
Yeah, that's good.
Horse is always
Never gives
ready
up.
for action.
Yes.
A lion.
A lion, yes. Okay.
There's a bird called beaver bird.
Is a beaver bird?
Beaver bird. Beaver, yeah, beaver.
Really?
Who really has got strong willpower to be, to
Weaver.
put his
Weaver.
weaver or
Weaver
Weaver.
bird.
Oh, it's
Oh.
Okay, weaver, yeah.
Okay, that makes
It's
yes.
strong.
I heard that
Weaver,
one.
yes, who really
Makes it-
weaves it to leaves
Uh-huh.
and makes a beautiful nest, and he really at it till it completes the nest.
Perfect.
It's a real
Okay.
willpower of completion of and starting and beautifully weaved
Nice. Okay.
leaves.
Maybe we can use that one.
Weaver, okay.
Okay, so maybe if there aren't any more questions, maybe that's enough for tonight. And I hope that everybody can use some of these ideas and develop your willpower and your ability to choose happiness. Good night.